Cancer. December is all about being flexible and adaptable. You may find that things in your immediate vicinity are changing rapidly, and you may be forced to move, or who you share your home and your space with may change almost overnight. Now, while you're starting your relationship, your love life, I should say, on a new note that may feel kind of heavy, just know that change is good and it's ultimately leading you in the best direction possible. The good news is that career is looking really up, okay? And something you've been waiting for a long time is finally going to find its way to you, and you're definitely going to be pleasantly surprised. Want to know more? Keep watching and I'll explain all about it. What's up, everybody? It's your girl Mel of Divine Feminine Works, and I am here to help you uncover your divinity and discover your magic. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. This channel is everything tarot, astrology, spirituality, and manifestation. So if those are the things you like, if those are the things you love, if those are the things you want to learn more about, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, as well as that notification bell, so you'll always be notified when I come out with new content. And speaking of content, head over to Instagram and follow me over there at Divine Feminine Works. Every day I've got a ton of tarot, manifestation, astrology content that will really help you out. So follow me over there so you don't miss out on any of that good stuff. All right, so this is going to be the Astro forecast and tarot scope for the month of December 2021. I don't know about you, but I'm still kind of blown that it is December of 2021. I felt like 2021 sounded so futuristic, it sounds so far away, and now we are at the tail end of it, and can't say I'm mad about that. I mean, I'm ready to move on, hopefully to bigger and better things, and I believe that 2022 is going to give us just that. But before I get ahead of myself, it's time to talk about the here and now, and as always, you know the deal, we start with the astrology. So the theme of this month, if we had to sum up December in one sort of short, concise sentence, it would be when one door closes, another opens. That's sort of how this month is playing out, because we begin the month right in the thick of eclipse season. So 2 weeks ago, we had a full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Taurus. And then right at the beginning of December, we have a new moon solar eclipse in the sign of Sagittarius. So eclipses are the universe's way of sort of cleaning things up in our lives and in society in general. So eclipses either take things out of our lives or put things in. It's the universe's way of setting order. And so when we have this kind of energy, it's sort of like you not only have to roll with the punches, but you have to be open to receiving and letting go of what you want on the one hand and what no longer serves you on the other. And that's pretty much how this month is going to go. Again, the highlight of this month is the new moon solar eclipse. But another way to think about this month, or another way to look at this month, is that there's a lot of movement this month, a lot of energy shifts. So we have 4 planets that are actually changing signs. We've got 2 planets that are changing directions, and we have an eclipse. So if you find that at the end of the month, if you're sort of assessing how December was for you, and you feel like December sort of had you feeling unsettled, a little bit unstable, that's because things are shifting and moving around. And that energy actually started last month in November with the eclipse, okay? So it's, like I said before, it's really about rolling with the punches and sort of letting things, let the chips fly, let things sort of move as they need to, and then sort of assess and get a lay of the land, all right? So let's go through the month chronologically and see what we've got. So we open up the month with the planet Neptune going direct in its home sign of Pisces. So Neptune was retrograde from June 25th of this year, and now it is turning direct. And we all know that when a planet goes retrograde, it's like you sort of take the energy and the characteristics of that planet and you direct it inward. So instead of things being directed outward in your life, you're taking a hard look at yourself, you're reflecting, you're remembering, you're doing all of that with respect to that particular planet's energy. So Neptune is all about fantasy. It's all about illusion. It's about love. It's about dreams, those kind of things. And so when Neptune went retrograde back in June, all of that stuff kind of went out the window. Neptune retrograde allows you to see the realness, the harshness, and the ugliness of life. And trust and believe, I think we can all agree that we've really been seeing that. Definitely over the last couple of years, but specifically as Neptune has been retrograde, we've been seeing things for what they really are. The rose-colored glasses come off and we see life as it is. But now that Neptune is going direct, now we're going to be able to take what we've learned while Neptune was retrograde and apply that to life and be optimistic. Regardless of what we've seen, the harshness and ugliness of life, I feel like now we're able to move forward and we can dream again. We can have high hopes. We can be optimistic despite the reality of, life. But you sort of take that, it's like you take the things that you've learned while Neptune was retrograde and you apply it to, your life going forward, but you're more optimistic, you're more hopeful. All right. So that's really how Neptune direct is going to affect us. And it all depends on where that falls in your chart. Neptune is in its home sign of Pisces. So its energy is extra potent. It's great for creative endeavors. It's great for us to recognize and appreciate humanity on a collective level. It's about being selfless, compassionate, empathic. So all of these things are going to we're going to be able to feel those things again. Okay. So that's how we start out the month. And then the star of the month is, like I said, the new moon solar eclipse happening in the sign of Sagittarius, and that's going down on Saturday, December 4th. So new moons are all about new beginnings, and a new moon solar eclipse is a new beginning in a very big way. It's like a new moon on steroids. This particular solar eclipse, I should say, really is about like an ending and a beginning wrapped up in one. That's kind of why I said the theme for this month is when one door closes, another opens. On the one hand, not only is this the final eclipse in the Gemini Sagittarius cycle that we've kind of been going through for the last 18 months or so, it's also happening at the 12th degree. And the 12th degree is the Pisces degree. And as we know, Pisces is the final sign in the zodiac. So there is a certain element of finality with this particular eclipse. So like I said, something is going to end and something is going to begin sort of simultaneously. Although you're not going to feel it right in the moment. It's not like Saturday is going to get here and you're going to be like, okay, something ends, something begins, I'm done. This energy is fluid and it's definitely playing out over the next couple of months. So be prepared for things to sort of shift within that time frame. This new moon solar eclipse allows us to have a clean slate and a fresh start, and it eclipses things into our lives. So I don't know about you, but at the time of the full moon lunar eclipse last month, I experienced a lot of endings. People that I was close to, someone that I was very close to passed away. Things were very jarring, things were sort of being eclipsed out. Now at this new moon solar eclipse, you may notice that things are being eclipsed in, things are being added to your life. People may be coming in, you may be going to a new place, experiencing new things, especially being in the sign of Sagittarius. Sagittarius likes to live large and in charge. It's all about adventure, broadening your horizons. So it's going to be this very expansive new beginning. There's also going to be an element of limitation and unexpected happenings with this new moon solar eclipse because we've got Uranus and Saturn in the mix. And I'm going to do a separate video on these eclipses generally and go more into the astrology of each particular eclipse. But just know that things may be a little difficult. Things, Saturn is an energy of limitation, of obstacles. It's also of endings also, and karma. So you may find that things are finally wrapping up in a particular area of your life, only for a new door to open and a new adventure, to embark upon. So that's sort of how this eclipse is playing out. All right. So moving right along, we have Mercury entering into Capricorn on December 13th. And Mercury in Capricorn is very serious. Our thoughts, our communications become serious, practical, down to earth. We become more focused and think more about work, being disciplined, perhaps overcoming obstacles. A lot of what we talk to people about and a lot of what we think about centers around work. It centers around serious matters. So that's how Mercury in Capricorn is going to play out. And again, that's going down on December 13th. That same day, December 13th, Mars is going to be moving into the sign of Sagittarius. Mars being a fire sign and moving into a fire sign makes Mars sort of extra happy. And this is really about, we become motivated by our desire to act according to our ideals and beliefs. Sagittarius, apart from just, ruling long distance travel, higher education, Sagittarius is all about expanding our minds, and it's also about faith, belief, and spirituality. And so now Mars being a very action-oriented planet, a planet that is concerned with initiation, we're going to want to move according to what we believe in and what we have faith in, and being very strong and convicted in those beliefs. Additionally, we'll want to start new adventures, blaze new trails, start new projects, initiate a whole bunch of things on a very grand scale, right? The only thing you'll have to keep in mind is that Mars in Sagittarius is like great for starting things, but not necessarily finishing. So you may have all of these projects that you start, you may have multiple projects, or you may have one big project. It's going to be very important for you to keep your level of motivation high, because in the beginning, you're going to be really fired up. You're going to be like, yes, I want to do this. Let's do it. Let's go for it. And then shortly thereafter, you're going to be like, whatever, or it goes by the wayside or anything like that. So that's definitely going to be something that you're going to be mindful of when Mars enters Sagittarius. All right, so moving right along, we have the full moon in Gemini going down on December 18th. And obviously, if you've watched any of my videos before, you already know that full moons illuminate. Full moons are either the culmination of a manifestation or they illuminate something that's been hidden. Gemini rules communication, it rules siblings, it rules extended family members, short distance travel, business, sort of your everyday busy body kind of energy is what Gemini is. And so with this, you're going to find that you'll probably either be really busy around this full moon, your communication with people is going to ramp up, you may be taking short distance trips, maybe you planned a short distance trip sometime prior and now you're finally going on it. You may find that something that you thought about back at the new moon in Gemini back in June now is coming to fruition. You may find that just your general environment is just busy. That's sort of how this full moon is going to play out. And again, that is on December 18th. Moving right along, the next day on December 19th, we have Venus going retrograde in the sign of Capricorn. So Venus in Capricorn is very serious as well. Just like I spoke about Mercury in Capricorn being serious, Venus is the same thing, but its energy is more focused on relationships, money, things that we value, aesthetics, beauty, comfort, luxury. All of those things become very serious, very tangible, and very down to earth. Venus in Capricorn is the energy that's going to get you to save money to buy a big ticket item. It's going to have you make a plan of action to redo your house, have a relationship. It's very practical, diligent, and down to earth. That's when Venus is direct in Capricorn. So now when Venus is retrograde in Capricorn, we take that energy and we direct it inward. So this really becomes what are the things that I value in my life? What is important to me? What are the criteria that I need to be in a relationship? Everything that Venus is about, we direct that inward. And being in Capricorn, we take a very practical, down-to-earth focus to it. Even creativity becomes very much more practical. How do I do things? How do I make money from what I create? What values are important to me in relationships with respect to assets? What's fair in my life? Am I being fair to myself? So that Venusian energy, everything Venus is going to be directed inward when Venus goes retrograde. And again, that's on December 19th. Moving right along, on December 21st, Capricorn season officially begins when the sun moves into Capricorn. So there's a lot of Capricorn energy this month. So if you feel like December is really sort of heavy, It's sort of not very exciting. I mean, the holidays are around, so there's that certain element to that, but maybe you think about the holidays in terms of how much money am I spending? How much overtime do I have to work in order to buy people presents? Those are the sort of Capricorn-like thoughts that are characteristic of the sun in Capricorn. We become very disciplined. Work becomes a real thing. We focus on getting things done in a practical, down-to-earth sort of way. Our status in life becomes something that we become concerned about. Business, all of those sort of mundane, practical things are what are characteristic of Capricorn season. And again, that begins on December 21st when the sun moves into Capricorn. And then finally, we close out the month with Jupiter heading into its home sign of Pisces. Jupiter in Pisces is like love, an overdose of love. Jupiter is all about expansion and growth, right? And so Jupiter in Pisces is really about expanding our awareness of spirituality, compassion, and love, but love on a grander scale. It's not like how you love your parent, how you love your child, how you love your spouse or your significant other. It's how you love humanity. Your love grows and your love expands, right? You start to, Pisces is a very intuitive sign. It's a very sensitive sign and an empathic sign. So whenever there is a planet in Pisces, particularly Jupiter, we feel other people's emotions. We feel sensitive, compassionate, and empathic towards other people in a very big way, which is great because that helps us understand people and just spread love, right? But the thing with Pisces is that it can be a lot and it can be overwhelming. And so in feeling everything on a grand scale, you really may have the tendency to lose yourself. You start taking on other people's emotions, taking on other people's shit, and you get lost in the sauce essentially. And with Pisces, the symbol for Pisces being fish, you're sort of literally lost in the sauce, right? So with Jupiter in Pisces, what's going to be really important is for you to feel everything, right? But also take the time and extra room to feel for yourself. So you're going to have to close off to the world at times, rest, recharge, and get back to yourself, because there's going to be a tendency to lose yourself. There's going to be a tendency to really, like I said, get lost in the sauce. So that is December in a nutshell. If you want to know more about what December has to offer, you can either check out the horoscopes, which are on my website, link in the description box below, or you can get a personal horoscope that is designed specifically for you. Whether it's 1 month, 3 months, or 6 months, you can figure out what December or any other month for that matter is going to look specifically for you. And if you want to order that, that link is in the description box as well. All right, Cancer. So for you, December is all about change, and it's all about being flexible and adaptable. You're going to have to roll with the punches this month because things are going to be shifting all around you. You guys, along with your other cardinal sign counterparts, which would be Aries, Libra, and Capricorn, you all have an emphasis on your cadent houses. So just by way of a general astrology lesson, the astrological wheel is broken up into 12 houses, right? And the 12 houses are grouped in groups of 4 in 3 different categories. You have the angular houses, which are like the cardinal houses. These are the houses that denote initiation, birthing something, starting something new, being bold, and having a lot of energy. And then you have the succeedant houses, which are like the fixed houses. And those are the houses where you stabilize and maintain the things that you have. And then finally, we have the cadent houses, which are the houses of change, where things change and shift in order to get you to move in a different direction so that you can start the cycle all over again. Now, the cadent houses are houses number 3, 6, 9, and 12. And so in the cadent houses, things sort of break down, things shift, things may change in a way that may be jarring at first, but ultimately the goal of the cadent houses is to get you to open your mind and think about taking new action and birthing new things. And so for you, Cancer, that is sort of how December is going to play out for you. There are going to be changes that you may not have control over, but that are going to get you to think about things differently so that you can make changes. Okay? So to start out the month, we start in Sagittarius season, and that lights up your 6th house of work and health. So when it comes to work or when it comes to your health, you may be experiencing some changes this month, particularly with the fact that the new moon solar eclipse is in your 6th house. So during Sagittarius season, your 6th house is lit because you've got 4 planets in there. You've got the sun, you've got the new moon solar eclipse, you've got Mercury, and you have Mars. Well, Mars will transit later in the month, but you've got 4 planets in your 6th house. So things at work may feel unstable. You may feel like the ground is shifting out from under you. When it comes to your health, maybe you have a health shakeup or a health matter that really grabs your attention this month. The 6th house is all about sort of mundane things that belong to your daily routine. Obviously, when you talk about health, sort of how you eat, how you exercise, that falls into that category. And work meaning the work that you do for others and your responsibilities on a day-to-day basis are what are covered in the 6th house. And so these may feel very unstable this month. And that may be by design because it may be the universe's way of getting you to shift how you provide services for other people, what kind of work you do on a day-to-day basis, or your health. This may be whipping you into shape, literally, or it may be having you address a health issue so that you can become healthier. So regardless, during Sagittarius season, this is sort of where the focus is and where you're going to be feeling a bit unsettled and shaky. All right. And then come Capricorn season, that is when the sun shifts into your 7th house, and that is your house of relationships. Now, the 7th house is not a cadent house. It's actually an angular house. And so when the sun is in your 7th house, you're going to want to take action with respect to relationships, either go in a new direction, start dating, become committed, take a relationship, either business or personal, to the next level, solidify it. 7th house covers your commitments. It also covers your agreements, like contracts and stuff like that. 7th house covers whatever you bind yourself to. And so come Capricorn season, that's when you're going to feel like taking action and committing yourself to someone or maybe to a group of people. Okay. And come Capricorn season, that is when you're going to have the sun in your 7th house. Venus retrograde is going to be in your 7th house. Mercury is going to transit into your 7th house, and Pluto is hanging out in your 7th house all month. So undoubtedly, you've been going through a lot of transformation with respect to your relationships or your commitments, particularly with the presence I'm tongue-tied, with the presence of Pluto in your 7th house. So perhaps you went through a really big breakup fairly recently, or definitely within the last year or so. Or perhaps maybe you had a new commitment and maybe you got married within the last year and change, and that's sort of that big transformation with respect to your 7th house. But particularly with Venus in your 7th house and Venus being retrograde, you're really going to want to think about what values and what criteria you have with respect to your relationships and to your commitments. Venus retrograde in your 7th house is going to have you thinking a lot and being retrospective with respect to how you show up in relationships, partners you choose, criteria for your commitments, etc. Okay. But regardless, all of that 7th house energy come Capricorn season is going to want you to take action. All right. It may not be the best time to take action, again, because Venus is retrograde, but you're going to have that initiating and sort of bold and dynamic kind of energy in Capricorn season. You also have an emphasis on the 9th house because you have Neptune going direct in your 9th house and Jupiter entering your 9th house. Both of those planets will be in the sign of Pisces. 9th house covers higher education, long distance travel, things that are foreign to you, legal situations, philosophy, religion, spirituality, all of those things. And with Jupiter being the great expander and Neptune being the planet of fantasy and dreams, I feel like for you guys, you may be going after a dream of yours. Some of you may be tapping into spirituality. Others of you may have legal situations that arise or that sort of call your attention, because again, this is one of the cadent houses. The 9th house is one of the cadent houses. So things are going to be shifting in terms of your spirituality, in terms of a legal situation. Perhaps you're going to have to travel for something. Something may happen, something may pop off overseas or across the country, and you're going to have to travel for that. That's pretty much how Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces are going to play out for you during December. And then finally, we have a 12th house emphasis for you when the full moon occurs in Gemini on December 18th. 12th house is all about resting, recharging. It's about karma. It's about being by yourself. And this is going to illuminate things within yourself, perhaps on a subconscious level. 12th house is very introspective. It's really not communicating with anybody else. It's really sort of powering down, recharging your batteries, and thinking about the future, because the 12th house is the last house, and then you start the cycle all over again with the first house. So you're going to be very introspective, particularly around the full moon. Something is going to be uncovered that you're not necessarily going to be able to see, because the 12th house covers things that are unknown. So there may be things going on all around you, but you're just not going to be privy to them during the full moon, perhaps at a later time, but definitely not now. So basically during the full moon, you're just going to want to rest, recharge. Some of you may have internal struggles that come up. The 12th house also covers things that are subconscious, so things that are below the surface. So if you find that you're having very insightful dreams, if you find that you may be even having nightmares, if you have anxiety or emotions that come up, particularly with the full moon that illuminates things, and plus this being a cadent house, the 12th house being a cadent house is about changes going on in your person, in your subconscious mind, that get you to think differently so you can move in a different direction. So around the full moon, you may find that your sleep is kind of wonky. You're feeling a lot more than you usually do, even though you guys were a very sensitive sign to begin with. Your subconscious really starts talking to you on a very profound level. That is to get you to think differently and move in a different direction. Okay. So again, this month is all about being flexible, rolling with the punches, and thinking differently so that you can move in a different direction in the near future. All right. So now that we've gotten the astrology out of the way, let's get into the tarot and see what messages Spirit has for you this month. All right, Cancer. So you know the deal. We have 3 separate messages. We have 1 general, 1 love, and 1 career and money. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let's start with the general message. So what do we have for Cancer for December 2021? Okay. We've got fork in the road. Interesting. Aries got this exact same card in the exact same place. All right. So this denotes having to make a decision. You're coming to an impasse. So like I said before, you guys have a lot of cadent energy this month, cadent house energy, which means that there's going to be a lot of changes, a lot of shifts that are going to get you to think and move in a different direction. So something is going to happen generally that's going to make you have to make a decision this month. Perhaps you've been going in a particular direction and now it's time to decide if you want to stay in that direction or go in a new direction. For some of you, I get the sense that this may have to do with stability. I also get the sense that it's almost like you've got someone in your ear who's sort of egging you on. Someone may be trying to influence you to go in a particular direction or to just make a change to begin with. So I kind of get this sense of a little bit of pressure, but I don't get the feeling that it's an overwhelming amount of pressure. I feel like someone just may be like putting something in your ear like, oh, maybe it's time to change your job, or maybe you should try this, or maybe you should do that. All right, let's see if I'm correct, or see what else we have here for this general message. Oh, that's too many. Actually, no, it's not. I'll take it. This is the Knight of Wands. This is all about movement, okay? This is about changing directions. This is about changing residences, perhaps physically moving, but it's moving very quickly, okay? For some, I feel like you're going to come to a decision very quickly. For others of you, I feel like whatever is getting you to make a decision happens very quickly. So whatever event precedes having to make a decision, it happens very quickly. Like it's a sudden move, almost of a surprise in a sense. And we've got the 6 of Swords, which is all about moving your mind. So there's a lot of movement this month for you already, Cancer. So perhaps some of you are moving into a more positive headspace, or you should move into a more positive headspace before making a decision. Spirit is letting me know that you never want to make a decision out of fear. So if something happens to startle you, or something happens that is surprising, or some fast moving energy, you experience some fast moving energy which may scare you, whatever sort of shakes you up, you never want to decide based on impulse or based on emotions at that moment. You want to get in a better headspace before you decide to move in a different direction, or before making a decision, be in a more positive headspace. All right, let's get one more card here on this general message. Okay. We've got community. Okay, I'm getting for some of you, this could be your residence. This could definitely be your residence. This could be where you live, your immediate vicinity. Some of you may have to change residences. Some of you may have to change where you live. Some of you may even have to change who you live with. And it might happen suddenly, right? It might be something that happens. You might have to move very quickly. Someone moves out very quickly, but your immediate vicinity is changing in a very fast and dynamic way, okay? And Spirit is just like, take a breath before you make any sort of decision. Don't make a decision based out of fear, based out of anxiety, based out of anyone pressuring you to say you have to take a decision now. Take a step back, take a breath before you make any sort of decision, all right? Let's move on to love and see what we have for you. Oh, that flew out. We've got grief and sadness. All right. So you know when I said before that you've had Pluto in your 7th house of relationships for a while. And I get the sense that some of you have endured or gone through a serious breakup in the last year, 18 months, thereabout. So you're entering a new phase of relationships with like a heavy heart. Okay. Like I said before, when the sun goes into Capricorn, it's going to highlight your 7th house. And the 7th house, being an angular house, is a house of action, of doing something new, of starting something new. So it's almost like you're starting something new, or you're approaching this new phase of a relationship with a heavy heart, with grief and sorrow. Okay. So let's see what else we have here for relationships. Okay. Yeah. Okay. We've also got the 5 of Pentacles. So some of you are feeling lonely. Some of you are feeling abandoned. Some of you may be physically abandoned. Like I said in the general message, you may have been living with someone and they suddenly moved out, or you have to suddenly move out. And it's having you feeling like this, feeling like you're, in a state of despair, feeling left out. Maybe someone, unfortunately, may have kicked you out of a home, but you're finding yourself sort of by yourself right now. Okay. That's the change that's happening this month, or it already happened. And now you're sort of trying to figure out what can I start new? How do I start anew? What direction do I go in now? All right. Let's get one more message here for this love message. Okay. We have mature woman. I see a mature woman coming to your assistance. Some of you may be this mature woman, because whatever you've experienced in this relationship has undoubtedly matured you. Either it's matured you in the general sense, or it's matured you in terms of your emotional maturity. But I do find that some of you are going to get help, particularly financial assistance from an older woman or an older feminine energy. Okay. Things are not as bad as they seem. Spirit wants me to tell you. They're not as bad as they seem. You may be in a new season with respect to your love life, right? And it may be a little depressing because maybe you were with someone for a long time and now you're single. Or maybe you've come to the realization that, you can't stay with this person anymore. But that just leaves space for you to have what you want. So you have to look at it that way. All right. Let's move on to career and see what we have for you for December. This is for Cancer for December 2021. Career and money. Let's see what we have for you. Okay. we have the letter. Okay, so this is some sort of communication. I feel like some of you are going to get some sort of notice this month with respect to money or with respect to your career, some sort of correspondence. You see how she's just reading this letter. I think that that's like literally what you guys are going to be doing. So there's some sort of notice you're going to be getting related to work or related to money. Let's see what else we have here. Okay. Perhaps it's something that you've been waiting on with the Three of Wands. I feel like you've been waiting for this. So you've been anticipating this letter. It could be some sort of decision. Perhaps you were waiting for a loan or waiting for an approval or waiting for an offer letter, and you finally get it this month. Okay. Whatever it is, you've been waiting on it for a long time. You put energy and effort into this at some previous point in time, and now you're getting feedback or you're getting a result or you're getting some sort of correspondence that's going to let you know what the next step is. All right, let's get one last card here to close out the reading. Okay. We have official person. All right, so this is either going to come from an official person, like a boss, an authority figure, or something like that. Others of you, this signifies a promotion. You are stepping into the position of an official person, of an official person. So the contents of the letter seem pretty good. You're either approved, you're accepted, you're promoted. Like, you're definitely going to be happy with whatever this letter or whatever this correspondence has to say. And you've been waiting on this for a while, perhaps for a couple of weeks. You've been waiting on hearing back from this job, hearing back about this loan, hearing back about whatever it is. And I feel like the outcome is going to be very positive. Whatever it is, it signifies the end of one thing and the beginning of another. So you're entering a new phase with respect to career and money, and it's looking good. All right, so Cancer, just to recap, something is going to suddenly happen that's going to shake you up a bit. Perhaps it has to do with your residence. Perhaps it has to do with someone that you live with. Either way, you're going to have to make a decision, okay? To decide to either stay where you're at or move someplace new. When it comes to relationships, you're entering a new phase of relationships with sort of a heavy heart, okay? But assistance is available to you by way of a mature woman or a feminine energy. But regardless, this downtime is not going to last forever. Keep an optimistic outlook and things will turn around in no time, okay? And finally, when it comes to career, things are definitely looking up. You're either getting a promotion, you're either getting approved for a loan or a mortgage. Something you've been waiting on for a while is finally going to come through and you're going to be pleased with the results, okay? So the month is not all bad, Cancer. It may seem that way, particularly with relationships, but change is good because it gets you to go in a new direction, all right? Take a breath. Make that decision and start a new life. All right, my loves, that has been the Astro Forecast and Taroscope for the month of December 2021. I sincerely hope and affirm that you were able to get at least one important message from this reading. Speaking of readings, if you'd like to book a personal tarot reading with me or order a personalized astrology report, those links are in the description box below, so don't forget to check those out. And while you're checking things out, don't forget to hit up my website, sign up for my newsletter. I give a whole bunch of free content on a regular basis, so sign up everywhere you can so you never miss out. All right, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.